It's what is this? It almost looks like a maple.
Yes, a little bit of confusion here on
like
my
a
part.
mature red maple.
Yeah, totally mature. No, seriously though, it was a red maple though.
Could be hickory. Some guys were throwing around hickory, but
it kind of had the appearance of it, but
it's looking more and more like a hickory.
Yeah, that's called the power of suggestion. Alright, so throwing all the DRT system here. About to just tie in real quick to make some cuts. And just trying to avoid cutting without 2 points of contact. 2 points of tie-in, I guess you'd call them. Yeah, this is a really big tree. This tree it's really thick. Not only is it a thick boy, but it's also really tall. And the way that it grows is it almost grows like sprawled out. So it sprawls out more towards the top. You'll see here soon. And it made for an interesting rigging and tie-in scenario. The other issue that I was experiencing during this particular climb is just time out of the tree. I haven't climbed at this point for I would say like at least a month. I would say at least a month. It's been at least a month since the last time that I was up in a tree, and I was just a bit skittish, I guess you could call it. I was very cautious. I was probably overly cautious, just trying to mitigate any risk and everything, and probably just overdoing the mitigation. But I felt that was more comfortable for me, so that's what I did, you know. All right, so I got a crush beneath there.
Check.
Good. So here, and I clip this back branch here. Let the guys know. Get out of the way. Yeah. Do you guys alert your ground guys the same way? By just revving your saw a few times? Let me know in the comments. Alright, yeah, that was nice. Nice shot there. So, yeah, guys, I mean, I'm telling you, this tree is really big, and you can start seeing it there. I am using a wide angle lens, so it kind of distorts the image towards the edges, but this tree, when I look up, you'll see that it's kind of sprawled out. It's not just that it's distorted, but it's actually kind of it's sprawled out. It's leaning over this, that landscape there, or those arborvitaes and whatnot. And so that is the issue here. So yeah, this tree here had just all these beautiful unions here, and I was just like, I was really just impressed how it ended up growing like this. I mean, maybe it could have used a little bit of pruning here, but naturally it seems like it grew quite nicely. The only thing is that,
Jesus, man, no central,
you know, with natural growing, it's gonna grow a bit wild.
Stay here, work on everything below
and so you see how it's sprawled out.
I'll come back up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna move on
and
from
I'll
the growth
work out
thing.
there.
But
right afterwards,
at this point, all my good tying points are like out in front of me, and all I need is a tying point to get down to that lower branch there in the right corner. Oh, and the one right there to the left as well.
Right.
Bottom left corner, just below the trunk here. On the other side of this trunk, you guys will see it. But yeah, basically the two long lower limbs are the only
totally maple,
reason
man.
why I would need a
We're
time
thinking
point.
hickory, but nah. It just has a little bit of a different bark that kind of gives you hints of something else, and you're just like, nah.
Yeah, that's what happens with mature trees. Their bark,
like a mature maple,
just changes.
It's like white oaks. White oaks, their bark changes.
Yeah.
Dude, when you see a mature white oak versus a young white oak, their bark are different. I forget how though exactly.
Yeah, and I'm still not exactly sure how, but I know that there's a distinction. I think that there's like is it less I wouldn't say feathery or fluffy, but in a sense it kind of is, right?
I'm not lanyard in. Hijo de tu madre. Jesus. Okay. Now we're talking, bro. Now.
Okay.
Now it's time.
It's time to leverage this rigging point here. And oh, buddy, this tree, man, it
get in here.
And kind of some big branches out here.
Start it up, baby. And do a half hitch with a bow in here. Yep. Nice classic knot here. This is need to know for those of you that don't. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's get a rope man ready. Ready on the ropes here.
All right. Looks like he's ready. My rope guy, I guess he wasn't ready.
Change the position of my rope here.
Yeah, I've noticed that like whenever I climb, I like to pay a lot of attention to where my rope is, especially when I'm on a DRT system.
That's about as side loaded as I'm comfortable with when I'm using the rope runner. And it's not very side loaded, but it's side loaded for sure.
Yeah. No. I've side loaded it. That's not even side loaded. There's not even a load on that road runner. In the future, you guys will be seeing a tulip that I've cut down. And while I was doing the spar work on that thing, I was
and for that branch,
definitely side
all I need
loading.
to do is kind of just clear that branch a little bit. So if I could get it to turn about here,
yeah, so
if I get some of these limbs here,
I'm talking about the branch to the right here.
A little bit, it'll clear. It should be able to clear most of that, the thicker portion of that branch, and it'll slide on through.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna cut that one afterwards. I just cut this one out first for a warm up.
Yeah, I need that warm up, man. Like I said before, it's been a while. At this point, at least a month, maybe a month and a half. Like this was in the beginning of 2023, and just going through the winter just with little work, and also attending school and everything. And then at this point, work is beginning to fire up again. So this was one of those, coming out of hibernation climbs. Alright, and we put it right there in that pocket. Beautiful, beautiful. No hang-ups, nothing. And this tree was quite tall. I mean, if it wasn't for it being a bit sprawled out and kind of laid out as it was, this thing would have at least hit 100 foot tall. Because at this point here, I'm maybe like 60-70 feet in the air, and that's with this thing sprawling out already. And I still got quite a ways to go out there. Those are some long branches, man. The camera doesn't do it any justice, but this thing was just super long. Like that branch I just cut, incredibly long. Look where it lands, and then look at the tip. and then where the butt lands. I think you'll catch a glimpse of that here. So using that person's body there as reference, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, about 6 lengths, man.
All right, so
good
the next
30-foot long branch,
25,
30-foot branch.
Send this guy out on its way. Then I'll take that one out. Then I'll drop in and hit that one up real quick, and then after that I'll come around, pop that guy, come back up, finish out the top. So I like to put, usually for branches that have no branches below the cut or below the knot that I'm making, I'll make a half hitch with a bowline. But since I can catch a crotch here, I'll just use the bowline because I feel like it's more efficient.
More efficient and just as safe. Or comparably safe. As safe. Yeah, you see that branch? That thing is a long boy. That thing is long. Yeah, and speaking, you see the buds on this tree here? Wow, everything bloomed early this year. I feel like everything bloomed really just strangely, in the sense that it was beautiful. I feel like things came a little bit faster than what I'm normally used to. I mean, things don't start blooming like this until like, I don't know, March. This is February, man. I think this is early February, mid-February. And so yeah, it's quite a lot. A lot of blooming, all those buds there. And yeah, so you see that? All that is just length. And it totally scared the crap out of me, to be honest. Because, I mean, like I said before, I was just out of practice, man. It's just one of those things, man, that like, you don't stay sharp on the skills, and it's not like you lose it. You don't lose your skills, you just kind of lose your feel for your skill. And so then, you know, coming back to it and kind of just honing in a few little things, tightening up a few little ends and all. That's
wow,
pretty much it.
Wow, look at how big that branch is. Goodness. I was just walking down there.
Yeah, so what I'm referring to is like walking about that distance down there was actually pretty
that's a big old branch there.
That's a decently long distance, man.
Maybe what I should do is on my way back after cutting that one, I'll cut this one, because I just don't want to deal with any crap. Alright, here we go.
Yeah, so I'm basically, what I'm saying is that like, instead of risking this branch getting caught up down there in that crotch, that I should just wait. Because I'm going to end up coming back to this point and
climber coming down.
Won't really make too much of a difference.
Watch out.
Last minute decision here. So that's such a low tying point that I chose there. And excuse me, low tying point, and then on top of that, both strands of my rope are rubbing on the back side of the tree, so it increases the friction. So I didn't really take that into account. Basically, in terms of friction, what I'm looking at is the friction from my just doing a natural crotch tie-in, and then on top of that, like the friction from my device. But then I'm adding into the whole equation more friction because both strands are laying behind the tree, and there's the addition of more friction. So it's really it's a bit cumbersome, you know, not very well thought out. And then on top of that, I was a bit skittish, man. I'm skittish here. You see my movements? I'm just kind of like second guessing everything. I'm just like, why did I do this? My tying point's so low. And then that friction hitch isn't, you know, complying. It's just a mess, man. It's just a mess. So I'm thinking I should just cut it there, but it's too big, man. It's too big. Too big of a piece. I don't even know what I'm doing now. Oh, I thought I ended up cutting this into 2 pieces. Okay. Okay. I end up sending a massive piece. This piece is like probably one of the biggest pieces I sent during this whole climb. It's an Arborist. Gosh, man. It was just like I wanted to go out a bit further, but it just wasn't. My tying point was just too low, like. So I'm just like, yeah, you know what, man, this is gonna suck, but we're just gonna have to do it here. Like, I'm just so uncomfortable. Like, look, I don't even feel like stretching out. Nice catch. Yeah, so this is a big old limb, and I'm just using a redirect here just to give me a little safety. So in case the limb wants to go to the left, because right now my tying point or my rigging point is off to the right, and so I want it to, you know, go that way, right? But the redirect is there just in case it wants to go to the left and do some funny business. And even this setup is kind of bad. I mean, I would just switch up that girthage on the the stem itself, so that it's in a cinching, so that the sling is cinching versus able to slide. Because right now it's kind of more like an open-ish kind of configuration rather than a cinching configuration. And so let me know if you guys understand what I'm talking about down in the comments. But that's a very important thing to be aware of, and I am just trying to prepare for the worst here, just trying to see like, hey man, if this, because the rope will lay down a bit further, I just don't want to catch that rope on the neck, man. I've caught ropes on the neck before. Well, one time I caught a rigging rope around the neck, and it just wasn't fun, man. It's not fun. Yeah, overcrowded. Just look at this. Look at this. Look at this. What the heck is going on here? I look like a soup sandwich up here, man. It's not good. Soup sandwich, and I'm skittish. I'm scared. First big cut of the season. So here I opt for the hand saw, because, well, if I were to catch the rope for any reason here, like you see how that rope lays there? Yeah, it should have laid down a bit further, but it got caught up on a branch in front of it. Yeah, so if I were to catch the rope for whatever reason, or if I just had to like dodge it, I wouldn't be dodging it with a chainsaw in my hand, and I'll be safer. So I guess that is a really good thing, a really good trick that I love to use. It's just increases the safety factor by, I don't know. You're exponentially safer. I'm exponentially safer when I implement that type of thinking and those types of techniques. So I do need to go back for the pulley. I don't know why I'm back at the trunk. Partly because it was an uncomfortable position. Just going right back to the low time point. So the low time point doesn't really afford you any kind of good positioning per se. And it's quite uncomfortable, especially when you're climbing out on limbs and whatnot. I was basically climbing where I was at on that branch. I was almost like perpendicular to.
I don't like this tie-in, man.
To my tie-in
at all. Nope.
Yeah, it was so uncomfortable. I had to come back
like it at all.
and change it.
Make things easier for myself. Right here. That was a pain in the butt, bro. I should have climbed higher. Whatever.
Yep. Regretting my decisions. But those guys are having fun with that branch down there. I mean, they've got their work cut out for them. So going back for that pulley isn't like crucial yet, but I should start making my way back there soon. Yeah, look at these guys. These guys are good, man. Look at them. Working real good together down there. Pretty cohesive. You guys might hear a lot of yelling. I'm working with I have a new partner here, man. And they're totally cool people, man, but they raise their voice a lot, so it's quite exciting. The job site is never boring, to say the least. I should have actually just swung around to the right, you see, so then my ropes aren't laying so much, aren't catching so much friction. Yeah. Yeah, lots to unpack here. Lots to unpack. But I think that going back into my own footage, I feel that I get better. I get better by just reviewing my own footage, and doing these voiceovers helps. I think that anybody who has the access to a camera or has the funds available, the resources to get one, should totally invest into one. And then, you know, even if you're not going to post it on a YouTube channel, but use your footage to go back and look at yourself. And then, I mean, I'm constantly looking at different ways, spotting little inconsistencies and inefficiencies where I can improve upon, and they're just improvement areas is what I look at them. Failures, weaknesses, yeah, they are, but it's more like looking at it from the glass is half full perspective, where you're optimistic and you're basically thinking that, yeah, you know what, these things are correctable, and just working on them, identifying them over time, it's the way to go for me. I love reviewing my footage. Not only do I love climbing, but I like reviewing the footage because I found there's just so much value in the review process and making the videos and all. Like, yeah, I'm making the videos for you guys, but at the same time, like, I'm gaining value for myself too, you know? So it kind of goes, it's like a win-win situation. Yeah, because I mean, I don't make any type of money really on this YouTube channel, but you know, if you guys were to try to put like how much money I make on YouTube, it'd probably be like fractions of a cent compared to the time that I'm actually investing into this thing. Like the long hours, the long nights sometimes, and just, you know, being prepared for the videos. Like, for instance, the night before, I gotta make sure my batteries are all charged, that I bring up my backup camera with its batteries charged, and I gotta make sure that on both cameras there's enough space to film at least an hour of time, because I feel like a good hour of footage is usually, for me, it's been like kind of my staple. I always shoot for an hour. If I get an hour's worth of footage, I'm super happy. There's just so much to do with it. Obviously, I can edit the crap out of it and create, you know, just tiny short videos or whatever, you know, short form content. But I like the long form content. I feel like that for this type of YouTube channel, like the long form content makes a lot of sense, and it seems to kind of resonate, and you guys kind of you know, confirm that, because in a recent poll I made, a lot of people were saying that the long form content is their jam, that's what they like. And so even before doing that poll, I just kind of always had this sense that, yeah, my viewers love watching the longer form content and whatnot. So look at that jump, man. Look at that jump. I love jumping. Dude, I love jumping out to branches. I love it so much because, look, I jump out to the branch, and as soon as I hit it, I'm like a bull. I start pumping my legs, and I climb up a few feet, you know. And then I throw on my lanyard. If that's not possible, the next thing is like, you know, lanyard. That's the first thing in my mind.
Lower D here.
Yeah, gonna twist that out of the way.
Very good.
Perfect. Look at that. So, oh yeah, guys. Oh, just earlier, just a few seconds ago, I was just ranting. But I just sent them that long log off of that limb I cut in half, and that thing balanced pretty nicely, huh? I was so surprised that it balanced so nicely, because I feel like usually you take a log and you cut it down the middle and you'll be like, okay, that's the balance point, but I didn't really put it in the middle. It was kind of a little bit further away from the middle, like outwards a bit, and it ended up working out really nice. I really liked how that thing balanced out. It was just super satisfying to watch. I was so happy to see that thing just float on down. And that's how I like it, man. That grace, you know, that gracefulness of branches just floating. You usually see that with the rope man, especially if the rope man is good. You'll see some graceful floating branches, and it's just the most satisfying thing to watch. Look at that, playing with fire there. Put the saw right up against that lanyard. But you know what, man? That lanyard's seen the saw, the teeth of that saw, a few times. At least, I mean, I don't know. It's got tons of, you know, micro cuts from the saw. But even, I think towards the end of last year, I might have actually nicked it. Nothing to be too concerned about. I mean, the lanyard isn't really super load bearing or anything, so it was of no consequence. Yeah. Here we go. This is gonna be a bit of a scary cut, but check that thing out. You see the speed on that? Gosh, man. When I saw the speed of that thing, I was like, whoa. Like, I'm so glad I was in front of that. But it was so nice. Really nice job by the rope man. So you see how that was just graceful. Like, all that speed and just how well controlled it came down. And I'm just super happy about it. Super happy about it, man. So here, I'm about to do something stupid, guys. And I'm sorry to all of my viewers, man, but I feel like I have to post my mistakes sometimes, and just to be like, keep it real and not embellish everything by editing out every single little mistake and whatnot. This is a huge mistake. It might actually warrant the edit, but I'm not gonna edit out. And if you guys are paying attention here, look, about to cut without a lanyard on. So you see that? I just had it in that cinching, but I took it out of the cinching. Well, not really, sort of. If I were to pull it more over to the right, it would be cinching. Yeah, guys, there's just like these little details that really matter, and practicing them actually helps. It's something that I come across all the time. Like there, it's cinching, you see? So once it catches the weight of that sling, once that sling catches weight and is loaded, it will cinch down. There will be a cinching effect, versus if you were to reverse that girth hitch, it would actually just spin around the branch. So you guys see that, right? I'm cutting without a lanyard. yeah, super noob mistake, man. And I just, you know, complacency, it has no room in the arb world, you know, in the arb life. But you see it all the time, man. You see it all the time, whether complacency, incompetency, just out of practice. Yeah, but you know what, man? I felt safe at the time. I felt okay with what I was doing. I guess mentally, I was just like, hey, you know what? I got this. And that's that complacency speaking. But really, yeah. So you guys saw that lane, that sling there is, it's cinching down.
Oh,
so
man, I messed up. Yep. I didn't put a lanyard on.
Yep, there he goes. They're just super in the zone, just like zoned out and really just into my craft so much that I just
All right,
didn't.
but that DMM rigger pulley is amazing.
Yeah, that rigger pulley is putting in work. A lot like Vegas had pointed that out. One of the subscribers here, most recently been very active on the channel. I know Black Dog's out there. I haven't seen Black Dog in the comments lately. I also do have a very sporadic posting kind of schedule, so you know, it kind of makes sense that there are some people who come around and then they don't stick around because I'm not constantly posting, you know. I don't have a schedule. If I have a schedule for YouTube, I would be so burned out. I'd be so burned out. It would just be insane for me to keep up with a YouTube schedule and on top of all my other schedules. And yeah, it's just wouldn't work well. So sporadic works for me. So you get them when you get them, guys. Sorry, but got a lot of competing interests. That was an interesting little sucker there, that girl. Look at me. I'm making a cut as if I were to be pruning. But there's such a nice collar on that branch there. It's kind of just begging for it, isn't it? Yeah. So if you guys ever watched that video where I say it's titled Major Problem with the Rope Runner Pro and DRT config, that's it right there. It sags. I came up with a real like surefire solution for it, and I'm just not implementing it here. I actually have the accessory carabiner with the small sling on it to implement the solution, but you know, I have other things on my mind, like my crappy ass tying point and the fact that I just cut without a lanyard. So yeah, and then just compounding everything, just the fact that I'm out of practice. And so I'm getting more and more comfortable in the tree right now. Kind of just talking to myself here. I talk to myself a lot while I'm up in the tree, and sometimes just dictating what I'm doing actually kind of helps me to calm my nerves and just and stay a bit sharper. Yeah. far are we into this thing? Pretty far, I would say. About 40 minutes here. Like, check this thing out. Cut a little nubby here. Oh yeah, and just so you guys, if you guys were wondering, this is actually, like a lot of my other videos, one of those videos that has 0 edits. Like, I think the only real editing that I have to do, or that I did, was basically taking everything from the memory card. So there's a small SD card that goes into the GoPro, right? And I take that, I offload it onto a hard drive. I have a 6 terabyte hard drive that I just throw everything onto. And then I access that hard drive, open up the file where all the videos are from that day, and I'll just have it all labeled. It's all organized in a file. And so when you open up the file with, you know, the videos that you recorded in whatever time frame, you know, whatever's on that camera at that given point, and you offload it into a file, it comes in little partitions. I take each partition and I glue them together. I glue them together in Adobe Premiere. And then after doing that, I'll just click this little microphone button, and there we go, man. We got some voiceover audio, and it's all gravy, you know? So I don't know why I'm sticking this guy on there, but it's just like super overkill. I just kind of had like a hunch, like, hey man, maybe this thing might want to get away from me or something. I'm just overly cautious and not cautious enough. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, the not using a lanyard thing. Yeah, so it's really a lot of contradictory things going on here, but so far, solid climb, man. Solid climb. Check that out. Nice cuts up here, man. It's going good. It's going good. This is a good climb so far. I'm not mad about this. A few little hiccups there with the time point, the lanyard thing. But so far, so good. And the way that this tree was moving, it was just insane. Like, it just moves like a tall tree. It just has a different type of movement, man. Like those trees out in front of me there, those other red maples, I'm pretty much like at the tips of those where I'm at here in this tree. This tree goes up even further still. Even though it is sprawled out, it has a few shoots that kind of shot up to the sky. And yeah, those laterals make the tree even taller. This tree, if it was straight, I'm telling you, it would be 100-footer easily. This has to be one of the biggest red maples that I've climbed, for sure. And I'm very proud to have been up into this tree. You know, this tree taught me a lot. So here we go, continuing the climb here. Gonna go up there and do a bit of some sorcery with tie-ins and whatnot and redirects, and yeah, so it's gonna get a bit technical right now. Yeah, and I think this day was pretty windy too. Can you guys hear that wind? I think the wind started picking up. Yeah. So that was I guess that's just another factor, like another unsettling factor, like for any climber on any day, really. It's the wind that makes you a bit more cautious, a bit more skittish, and just kind of increases the risk factor, you know. Yep. Little slippage there, no biggie. Go ahead, double lanyard this thing past this union. Upper D's on, and removing that lower D's. Good. Start moving on now.
Slow down, baby.
Yeah, so these limbs here, don't let them trick you. They are long. They're seriously long. Like it's you know, the camera's a bit deceptive in that sense. And we got the super view on, right? So it's the we're filming. I think I'm filming in 2.7K. I'll render it into 4K, but you know, it's super high quality regardless. And I love the way that, you know, the detail comes up in this camera. A bit distorted because of the wide lens, but I feel like there's a lot of trade-offs. It's something that I've heard of from other photographers, like you know, in photography, like you can't ever get anything perfect. You know, it's all about trade-offs. Like if you increase, you know, your ISO, if you play around with exposure, you're trading that off for something else. And I think for this type of stuff, the super view is quite awesome because it captures like what's going on in my harness, you know, the whole cockpit area, and you know what's going on around me, and allows you to. Okay, so I'm just gonna back up a little bit. So the super view also, since it's mounted on my head, I kind of point it downward a little bit, so when I look down, you guys can see all the gear and how I'm working it. But then also, the super view helps for when I'm looking up. Since it's pointed down a little bit, it captures more of what's above. All right. And I think that's just like super valuable.
That's freaking wonderful.
Yeah, so you see how close that was? It's just like, yeah, man, like what the heck? You know, it's not really what I wanted. But whatever.
Right there.
It's gonna work. Gonna make it work. Spike that real quick. Watch this. Oh. Okay. Yeah, so I don't want that rope, you know, feeding through the rope runner there. And so check out this throw. I remember this throw. This was a long time ago, okay? But I remember this throw. I throw a little weight on there with the carabiner. It's an anti-gate carabiner, so it's a little bit heavier. And check out this throw, man. It's perfect. It's like, you know, and then I just pulled it out of a snag. Goodness, man. I don't know if that was skill, luck. I feel like it was a little bit of both, but mostly luck. Maybe a lot of luck, a little bit of skill. And then a little bit of trickery using that length extender there. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I love this. Beautiful. Okay. So now we're talking, man. We're tied in here. Yeah, that rope burner sag is pretty bad. So even though I cut it from right there, it's still a really long piece. It's still really long. Like, I'm telling you guys, if this thing grew straight, it would have been a absolute skyscraper.
A little bit smaller.
And for a red maple to be a skyscraper like that, man, it's just got to be old, very old tree, you know?
Come on, man. Come on. There you go.
A little frustration there.
Goodness gracious. Alright. There she goes, baby. Very good, very good. Alright. See ya. Got a little compression there to absorb the shock.
Yeah, so the compression ends up working really nicely. Because we're totally negative rigging here. And then with all that rope from the rigging point to the actually tie where it's tied off at, it's like, you know, what is that, 5 feet? So it's gonna fall 5 feet before it actually catches the rigging point. So that compression is totally welcome. Yahoo, baby. Yeah, so that shook up the tree real nicely. So it's oscillating beautifully right now. I think it's like catching on my rope. Just spooling it up for me, you know? Where is it? No, I don't think so.
Good job, man. Thank you, thank you.
Totally did catch my rope. Yeah, beautiful views up here. Beautiful views. That wind's picked up nicely. So coming up to the crotch here at this point where we're at.
Te voy a mandar dos. Te voy a mandar dos.
Alright, so I'm just sending 2 looms.
Alright, so I want to do this one last, only because I don't want to be cutting here close with a load, you know.
Makes no sense.
I don't want to have a preloaded branch and then cut in after. I don't know. Weird stuff happens, man. So I'll cut this one last.
Yeah, so cool little technique here that I'm using. I love using
club hitch in here. And then by doing the club hitch, I'm actually able to tighten up the whole system.
Yeah, take slack out of it.
Really useful, super useful.
Alright, so here it is. It's looking good, looking good.
Alright, so here goes the club. Beautiful, beautiful.
2 clubs, 2 half hitches.
Half hitch. Yeah. Check. One more? Why not? 2 half hitches is always good. That keeps it nice and tight. And so now, with this slack, however much slack I ever get or have, I can always just tighten it up real quick here, there, and pretty much it, man. So something weird can happen down here. Just gonna keep the lanyard long instead of moving the lanyard below that crotch there, and might actually even move it back here to give me, to counter that tie in there.
Yeah, so just to kind of triangulate myself there. Helps out.
To remain. Alright, beautiful. Compression's working real good up here. Absorbing the shock. Beautiful.
Yeah, those slings, they need to they need a little help there.
The next one I'm gonna do is the top.
Should have oriented them a little bit better. Shouldn't have the stitching against the rigging point. It should just be in the slack portion of the sling, you know, like maybe right above the connection points to the ring or the pulley there, which would be the carabiner. I should just say carabiner. Yeah.
While I'm transitioning into a new tie-in, be nice and
just maintaining that homeostasis there, you know. Yeah. Keep it nice and predictable.
Fall and bust my other wrist. Totally hit her. I bumped my wrist somehow right here, and dude, I got the biggest bruise, man. Oh my gosh, and it hurts too.
It wasn't even a bruise,
it's kind of sore.
Gosh, I remember after this day, that injury got worse. I think I might have fractured my my wrist. Oh, it must have been about like a week before this. I forgot. Okay. Yeah. All right. So it's coming back to me now. All right. So before a week before this, I hadn't climbed for about a month, maybe a month and a half. Up until this point, so it was like about a week before this, I did get hurt climbing.
So this lanyard would just be redundant.
Or I think it was like a few days. This was just at the turn of the week. So anyway, just saying a lot to say that it was a windy day, and I slipped. I didn't even realize I got hurt. I finished the whole job, got home, and kind of felt my wrist a bit like swollen. And then I realized, like, oh crap, like I'm actually injured.
I am gonna fix it because I need a cut here. You want to be extra comfy.
But yeah, I ended up taking some time off of working because I couldn't work with the injury. The injury was it was just too important. And there it is, like turning on the chainsaw so many times just was hurting. Working while I was injured, man, because I need to eat. And my family need to eat, you know? So, a lot of trade-offs, man. But I know that if I didn't take time off after this, I was going to see some serious repercussions. So I'm glad I took the time off. I just did a little strengthening at home, kind of just worked on it, iced it. Made sure that I was like using it to try to get the kinks out, man. I mean, it was, you know, it was pretty bad.
Alright.
It was a pretty bad injury. I was like flexing my forearm, right, by squeezing my hand, and I can just hear some, like, if I were to be squeezing a window, like you hear that squeegee like that, like, you know what I'm saying? It would just be like this sound, and you're like, dude, like, there's something wrong with my wrist. Like, the tendons in there it was all just a swollen mess. I didn't go to the doctor for it. I just kind of at home cured myself. Definitely not advocating for that. So, go to the doctor if you can. Nice job, man. See that compression there? It's working nice.
That's nice, man.
Yep. Beautiful. It's like a shock, man. Like the suspension system on a car. Working real nice, real smooth. And so, yeah. But yeah, man, if that injury got any worse than where it was, I was definitely going to go to the doctor. So I was just on the brink of going.
That's no good. I just saw that. Yeah, that's no good. That thing should be down here or in there. It's not there. Porcelain. Yeah, this has been one rough cycle for this loop runner here. Rigging loop. This one's good. Wow, I could have just taken the knot out. Gosh. Man. Looks good though, man. Looking good, looking good. Let's get rid of this stick here. I cut the whole thing right there. Put it down a little bit. Give it a cut.
Yeah, so those rigging slings, they're always on my belt. I always have them up with me.
Help! Help!
Oh, they're pulling on the rigging rope. When someone pulls on my rigging rope or even touches it, or my climbing line, like I immediately know. Like I just have this. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like when someone pulls on my lines, I know that somebody's on it. And if I'm like transitioning and doing all this kind of stuff up there, like I don't need any extra pull because you're holding the rope up. Like, you know, like sometimes somebody will just keep the rope off the ground and it'll have like a little belly and it'll be tied up on you in the tree. Like that for me creates that much extra force, like pulling me down, that I notice it and makes me uncomfortable, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Left a little mark there so I know where I'm at.
Yeah, that cut wasn't there on accident, okay guys?
Oh Jesus Christ. Did it again, did it not?
It's looking good, man. Yeah, that wind is real strong. It's just constantly blowing now.
Beautiful. Here it is. There you go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, guys. So this is a one-take voiceover. So hope you guys liked it. let me know down in the comments below. Leave your questions, leave your comments, like, about anything that's going on, anything that I was explaining, like whether you agree with something, whether you disagree with some things, whatever. And if you like the content, make sure you smash that like button. Totally helps me out in the algorithms. And yeah, so let's go ahead and rig down this log. Let's see if that rigging sling will take this log. And it's a heavy one. That's not no little log. Negative rig and all. Yeah, buddy. Ate it. Ate it. Look at that. Going out into landscape. Oh yeah. Smash that like button for the rope guy. My man on the rope, he's just really good. He's just good. Alright guys, so thank you so much for visiting the channel once again. If you guys aren't subscribed yet and this video has given you some value, go ahead and smash that subscribe button, and as well as smashing that like button for sure, man. Thank you so much for your support, for your continued support. Thank you to the entire viewership. Thank you to all you guys. I love you all. I do this for y'all, and thanks again, man. Thank you for watching. Till next time, peace.